Maybe that's why the other characters are more center stage than Tristram Shandy. The father, Walter, short-tempered and paranoid, with his peculiar and consoling personality, he seems to be obsessed with clocks and winds them regularly, and the ticking of the clock gives him a rhythm or cadence to follow during the intercourse. And after it, we get to see the father's practical side when he draws a legal contract with his wife relating to the Tristram's birth, to have as much control of it as possible. And once he hears of possible damage to the infant's nose, his paranoid side surfaces and he goes repeatedly into the importance of a good nose to have a successful and happy life. The father is obsessed with human noses and collects every written work he can find about it. He is as dedicated to his nose fetish as Uncle Toby is to the military engineering. Uncle Toby seems to have even more presence and is more profoundly described and analyzed. Their lives, experiences, and predicaments are also there to allow Tristram to give his opinions, often through the mouth of the other characters. "Cursed luck," said he, biting his lip as he shut the door, "for man to be master of one of the finest chains of reasoning in nature, and have a wife at the same time with such a headpiece that he cannot hang up a single inference within sight of it, to save his soul from destruction." Uncle Toby, his life is defined by the groin wound he received during one of the military campaigns, and it confined him for 4 years to his room, where he had time to study and reflect and come to some deep conclusions regarding life. The wound seems to be one of the more important parts of the novel, because Uncle Toby is one of the main characters, perhaps the main character. "I have begun a new book on purpose that I might have room enough to explain the nature of the perplexities in which my Uncle Toby was involved, from the many discourses and interrogations about the siege of Namur, where he received his wound." And the wound carries a deeper message, a dilemma. What is it and what are its consequences? The implied question is whether Uncle Toby is able to perform sexually, and the target of his passion, the widow, seems to wonder if he would be able to satisfy her, and it probably is a deal breaker for her. This links to the book discussing and analyzing the meaning of love, how much power and influence it has over our decisions and actions, maybe because the whole coming of Tristram into existence was not a spontaneous and emotional event, but rather a planned and cerebral process. "Are you to imagine from thence that I should set out with a description of what love is, whether part God and part devil, as Plutonius will have it, nor is it to be imagined, for the same reason I should stop to inquire whether love is a disease." The father, being more systematic in his approach to life, is somewhat dismissive of love and says it is not a sentiment but a situation, and the most serious passion is lust. The book also includes a bit of travel, of which Tristram doesn't seem to be very fond of. After all, it was 18th century and travel took a lot more effort, and it was mostly done out of necessity rather than for pleasure. Tristram takes a trip to France, which to him is intimidating, uncomfortable, and plain boring. "Crack, crack, 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 crack. So this is Paris," quoth I, continuing in the same mood. "And this is Paris, hump." "Paris," cried I, repeating the name the third time. "The finest, the first, the most brilliant. The streets, however, are nasty, but it looks, I suppose, better than it smells. Crack, 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 crack." Sterne elaborated on his travel experiences in the following book, A Sentimental Journey Through France and Italy, which was being written as he was finishing Tristram Shandy. In it, he takes a bit distinct view on travel, portrays it as a more enjoyable experience. In his humorous and indirect way, Sterne also touches on the serious subject of racial slavery. He was abolitionist, opposed to slavery, and treating people based on their race. "A Negro has a soul, and please your honor," said the corporal doubtingly. "I am not much versed, corporal," quoth my Uncle Toby, "in things of that kind, but I suppose God would not leave him without one, any more than thee or me." And also he makes reference to the treatment of black slaves. "It would so," said my Uncle Toby. "Why then, and please your honor, is a black wench to be used worse than a white one?" But it seems Uncle Toby was not much of a feminist. I think, probably, in general, the book served for Sterne to safely vent his feelings about, opinions of, and disagreements with the society he was part of. And hidden in between all the silly and ridiculous writing, there are some keen observations. The availability of books is not the same as reading them, nor reading them the same as understanding them. And there are also some serious questions pondered, such as death and dying, and the meaning and relation, often hypocritical, between morality and religion. As therefore we can have no dependence upon morality without religion, so on the other hand, there is nothing better to be expected from religion without morality. Nevertheless, 'tis no prodigy to see a man whose real moral character stands very low, who yet entertains the highest notion of himself in the fight of a religious man. To sum it up, Tristram Shandy can be an enjoyable read if you like classics in general, and specifically if the Old English, the vocabulary and sentence structure is your thing. The book is insight into mentality, thoughts and behaviors of people 300 years ago, which don't seem that different from today. The difference between the book being a chore and enjoyable is the humor, a lot of it explicit. Keyholes are the occasions of more sin and wickedness than all other holes in this world put together. With obscenities, phallic symbols, and sexual language used, somewhat disguised in the archaic English. Tristram Shandy was praised by Voltaire, Goethe, and even Schopenhauer, the biggest pessimist in between the pessimists, enjoyed the novel very much. I never agreed with the pessimist label branded on Schopenhauer. I consider him more of a realist, but that's another subject. In the modern world, there are many novels similar in style to Tristram Shandy, what I call fictionalized autobiographies. They were written by writers such as Henry Miller, James Joyce, Hemingway, Charles Bukowski, even William S. Burroughs, and many others. The book is written in what at the time was an experimental and innovative style, so it can be as well appreciated for its pioneering literary style. Okay, let's talk about the physical book. The book I am holding is a paperback which I transform into hardcover leather-bound edition. To make the cover, I use grade A, naturally tan hide I buy from a tannery in North Spain. It is the same leather Louis Vuitton uses to make his bags, so it is top quality. I do all the processing of the leather myself. First I design the cover, which what I did here, I used this painting of a few 18th century gentlemen engaged in a discussion, something reminiscent of the passionate talks involving Uncle Toby, Tristram's father Walter, and Yorick or Dr. Slap. This is the back with the blurb, and inside front cover I printed a quote from the book. If you want to see a more detailed video where I explain how I transform paperback into leather-bound hardcover, click on the link in the description. I will make maximum of 100 editions of each title. Each one will be numbered and initialed, and the numbers will go in chronological order from 2 up, since number 1 stays with me. The price will be around $100, so if you would like me to make one for you, you can click below on my email and send me a message. I do not guarantee I will do it, since it will depend on the time I have available, access to leather, and if I can get my hands on the copy of the book. Now, if you're not willing to spend the $100 but you still want the book, what you can do is click below on my PayPal link and donate $3 or more to my channel, and for every 100 donations I will make a lottery and draw one name, and the winner will receive the book. So if you are cheap but feel lucky, this might be the way to do it. Also, your donations give me the extra motivation to make the book reviews, and I appreciate them very much, so thank you in advance. One more thing, when you make your donation, remember to include the title of the book you would like to win. The book itself is it's beautiful. Visually it has a very nice texture, it smells great, and the more you handle it, the more beautiful it will become. And it makes a great gift for yourself or somebody who appreciates books. So if you want one, don't snooze or you might lose. Well, that's it, so let's end it here, and until next time, keep your ear close to the ground and read a book. Adios.